We're live.
We're live, excellent. Well, the first thing is, do I look fat, Graham?
That's like answering the questions to my wife. I can't possibly answer either way.
Hi, Jan.
Hi.
Thank you for speaking with us today.
That's okay.
So on behalf of everyone here at Route 1, we'd just like to say a massive congratulations on reaching the amazing milestone for the 25th anniversary. And we'd like to ask you a few questions about your journey and about the growth of the business and all of the bumps and lumps along the way.
There were a few of those, yeah.
Firstly, would you like to tell us what inspired you to take on the garden centre 25 years ago?
I'll tell you that exactly. So before here, I had a nursery, and I had a partner in that nursery. And he said to me, I buy a lot of plants. I have a landscaping business, and I buy a lot of plants. So you grow the plants, and I will buy them off you. So off I started growing, and I thought, great, lovely. I stay at home in the country and fart around with plants, lovely. So that's what I set out to do. And then gradually I realized over a period of time that the quantity of plants that he said he would take was nothing like what he claimed it would be. And so suddenly I found myself surrounded with all this stock, and I discovered that I was quite good at growing. And there I was in the middle of a field in Oxfordshire with no outlet. So I had to do what, I don't know whether you remember a guy called Norman Tebbit, probably too young, I think. Norman Tebbit was in Mrs. Thatcher's government. He was famous for saying, when I didn't have a job, I got on my bike and went and got one. Something like that.
That's good advice.
Exactly. So I realized I had to get on my bike in order to try and sell these plants that I was gradually accumulating more and more of. And I used to go into a place in Benson on a Friday afternoon and drop down as many plants as they were prepared to take, stuffing as many as I could down there, outside their shop window, making it look beautiful. People latched on to the fact that I would turn up on a Friday afternoon or Friday morning or whatever, and they'd be almost waiting for me, and I would come up. I had a lovely red pickup Toyota van at the time, unload my stuff, put it on the ground, and I would watch them pick it up and go straight into the shop and pay twice as much money for it as I was going to get for growing it. And I thought, I want some of that action, please. When I first turned up on this site, there was an existing garden centre. It was in poor shape, it was run down. But I called in hawking my wares, as it were. And the lady, I explained I was, had a nursery nearby, and she ended up buying quite a lot from me. And during the course of getting to know her, I realised that a proposed sale by her had just fallen through. And I said, well, if you are interested in continuing to explore that idea, I'd be very interested. So 14 months of torturous negotiation carried on. And finally, I acquired Route 1. I had secured my objective. I was now in a position of being able to retail, not that I had a clue what I was doing, of course.
Didn't actually plan to open a garden centre, that just naturally happened then?
Well, I think the original idea was to have a garden design centre, and I had discussions with a garden designer and a landscaper, and I thought that was a very interesting combination. However, I had no money. I wasn't able to pay myself a penny for, I don't know, a number of years here. And I said to these characters, if you bring work to the party, then fine, of course we can afford to pay you, but what's the word I say? They were greedy. They wanted salaries that I couldn't afford, and they weren't necessarily providing the work, and they were expecting me to find it and fund it, and so it didn't work out.
So when did you first have your very first employee?
Well, I inherited two 16-year-olds from the previous owner, a boy and a girl, and quite frankly, they knew more about certain things like the till, the forklift truck. I originally got my first lesson on the forklift truck by the 16-year-old boy. I thought, blimey, if he can do it, well, I jolly well can. Sure. They were, basically Saturday and Sunday girls, but because it was holidays when I took over, they were available all the time. And I thought, well, this is great, marvellous. And then the next, got into September, and they said, oh, by the way, we won't be in tomorrow. I said, oh, why is that? He said, well, we're going back to school. Really? What do you mean you're going back to school? I'll be on my own. So that really was route one, back to one employee, and I couldn't pay myself. So that wasn't great. During that summer, there was a lovely university chap from Reading called Steve, who stuck his nose in and asked for a job. But we've got to remember, in 2001, no bugger was interested in the garden centre. Days would go by and we wouldn't really see anyone. So it was very difficult to offer someone a job. I had no revenue. However, I took his number, and when the two 16-year-olds went back to school, in a panic, I phoned him up. And he was in his maybe third year at uni studying horticulture. And basically for the rest of that year, he worked full-time for me and did all his studies in the evening and stuff, and he absolutely saved my bacon. He was one of these kids, like 16, he'd worked at a garden centre since he was 13, 14 or something as a Saturday boy, and worked his way up. And I was just so fortunate because he knew more than I did.
So at the beginning, when it was just you and Steve,
yeah,
did you ever imagine that it would grow into what it is today?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, we had a plan. So straight away, what I got here was a leaky glass house with a shed, and I had a little office in the corner of the glass house, which was just partitioned off with a couple of fencing panels, and then a little table behind. But every time it rained, there'd be another leak, and I'd lose another piece of electrical equipment. The machine has just gone and blown up. But I went straight away, although it was so quiet. I mean, because it was so quiet, it enabled me to put together a plan of action in terms of what I wanted to do with the place, which was to build what eventually became the cafe, and to start the development of the site. It was all very complicated. I had some partners, and they were supposed to be there because when we expanded, I needed some finance. And when I needed the finance, they all disappeared and said they didn't have any money. so thankfully I lost them. I don't think I'd be very good with a load of partners, and I think part of the success of what I've been able to do is because I can, not necessarily always make the right decisions, but I can go if I make a decision, I go for it, and it gets 100%.
So do you think what you see around you now is like a true representation of what you had in mind?
I think it's larger, and there's more. I mean, every time you go, there is so much here, which is amazing. The core is the same. It was plants with a rationale. And also, the cafe was very much part of the initial idea as well, because you can draw people from further afield if they know they can get a cup of coffee and a sandwich or stuff like that. But the principal draw is not the cafe. It is the plants. That's what I firmly believe.
And how important do you think the local community has been to your overall success?
Well, I think they've been pretty supportive. I remember the first time I had a run on my till. I hadn't really had any experience of that, and I don't know whether you'll understand that now in this sort of almost cashless society, but when you run out of fivers and you have to start giving change and pound coins, and you rinse through those, and you're having to give 50p's out, and suddenly you've got an inability to trade. Well, the first time I realized that that was going to happen, I jumped on my bike like Norman, and I went down the road, and I went to 2 or 3 places along the way, the garage included, and then I went into the pub on the corner of the Cross Keys, and everyone had said no, and I was going, and it was, the banks weren't open, it was a Saturday or Sunday or something, no one would give me pound coins, and there was a lovely chap called Bob Wyatt, who is remembered these days at Bunkfest because he was the founder of Bunkfest, and so when you go there you will see the main stage is called the Bob Wyatt stage. Sadly, he's passed away now. And he said, yeah, who are you? Why do you want them? And I went, I'm Jeremy from the room, I've got these pound coins. And he said, how many do you want? And he went to his little safe and he pulled out about 10 bags of pound coins and saved my bacon. So from that point on, whenever Steve and I, after a long day, feeling thirsty, if we needed a drink, we'd go down to Bob's place, and so I formed a relationship with him. We have so many regular and loyal customers. The whole, how do you build a business? You need to have regular customers. You need to plant the thought. I always say this to anyone who comes to work here. There are many ways that you can plant the thought that someone would like to return, but it's really important that you can do that. The last person they see is usually the person on the till. It's such an important role. And someone who can give a nice smile and say thank you, that's what people go away. But it could be the plants they've seen, it could be encounters they've had, they could have a lovely piece of cake in the cafe, whatever. There's multiple reasons why they might want to come back. But as long as we plant that thought, and you rely on, that's how you build a business.
And what do you think's changed the most? The plants, the customers, or you?
Well, I think we've got more customers. That's obviously helpful. Obviously, you sell many more different varieties of plants these days. I'm rather an aficionado of the Latin names. I like to say things like Ceratostigma wilmotiana and things like that. But these days, the growers and the punters don't necessarily appreciate that, so they make up names like Salvia, Love and Wishes.
Can you tell us about the vision behind creating the new show gardens?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, you know how much blooming new housing there is going up all around the place. Well, they all get a green rectangle of grass and a brown fence. And so it's quite simple, really, because what I wanted to do was show them what they might be able to do with it. So we just came up with I came up with 4 different ideas, and we built them over the winter. I think they're in about their 3rd year now. And I think it's worked, and it's quite interesting because it ties back to that that original idea of a garden design centre, which I had. So I like that sort of completion of the circle, and I'm quite proud of how they look because I think they look great and they seem to be admired, and it's quite nice. If someone takes away one idea from any one of those gardens, it helps them with their choices, and so yeah.
What are you most proud of when you look back over the past 25 years?
What am I most proud of? I'm proud of everything about this place. It's been an absolute obsession. I have busted a gut, I have drawn blood, no one has done anything here that I haven't done myself, including unblocking the drain, which is a ghastly thing to have to do. Yeah. But I look around now and the quality of the stock, and the standard of presentation, and we have such a fantastic team, as you guys know, working together, pulling together, and actually hanging out together sometimes in their spare time. And I'm really proud of those relationships. I'm proud that the business can afford to pay good wages, and that we still, you know, have money in the bank. I think that's you know, it's good for me.
Jem, can you share a mistake that's turned into a valuable lesson?
Yeah. So if you think back to those 16-year-old, we had no customers coming in. I had to sort of set them things to do, and very kindly, my parents offered to take me and my very young family to the Channel Islands for a week's holiday. So I had to set these two 16-year-olds something to do whilst I was away. And at that point, I came up with the idea that I would be yellow and black. That would be the colours. Every garden centre was green or had a flower as an emblem. And there was I, route 1. No one quite got it. People still don't quite get it. It's really boring. R-O-O-T. Do you get that? It's a root, as in the root of a tree, not the R-O-U-T-E. Route 1, and I got this marriage of the American highway sign, and I thought, that's brilliant. I'm not going to have a flower, and I'm not going to have a leaf as my logo. I'm going to have a punchy American highway sign, and I'm young and funky and black and yellow. So I embarked on that misguided journey, and I got these two 16-year-olds, bless them, to paint the wall whilst I was wearing yellow with black trimmings and things like that. That kept them busy for a bit. So that's evolved. That was our image. So, and I got this great big massive sign and put it down by the roadside as well. I got into trouble with that, but anyway, I toughed that one out. It's the same sign. It's got different things on it these days, or the new branding. You can see where this is going. So I used to get umpteen people driving past the place, or coming in and saying, "Oh, I've been driving past this place for years. It's really quite nice, isn't it?" And I'd say, "Well, yeah, well, why is it taking you so long to come in?" "Oh, I don't know." And I had that just loads and loads of times. I was thinking, why? Why have you been driving? And it was several years later. I mean, then the business was going all right. It was fine. It wasn't, you know, making giant strides, but it was every year was a positive result. So you know, the branding, there was nothing that bad about it. But finally, this chap came in and he said he was really annoyed. I mean, he's just taking his annoyance out on me, which seemed to be completely unfair. He lived just down the way in South Morden or something. "I've lived here for 12 years. For 12 years I've been driving past this place, and it's finally come in, and it's lovely, isn't it?" And he was really angry with himself. He was really angry with me. And I said, "Well, why? Why is it taking you so long?" And he said, all the others, he said, "I don't know." But he came back 5 minutes later, and he came and he said, "It's your sign. Your sign with the American highway and the black and yellow colouring bears no relation to what it is that you've got here, which is beautiful, and the black and yellow is a sort of warning, stay away. The American highway sign, or the American nuance, is cheap, nasty stuff." Sorry, Donald. And I thought about that, and And he said, I bet if you rebrand, you will notice an uplift and a big difference. So I thought about that, and then I involved some other people, and they came back, and lo and behold, we were reborn with a green leaf. However, it was more appropriate, and maybe people understood that we were a garden centre and not some brash American discount store.
I recall you telling me that on your first day you made £5 or something like that?
Not quite. The first day, people came in out of curiosity, I think, and so day one was not bad. One day back in August, it was when I was away, and I had the two 16-year-olds. One day they took £9. Well, yeah, bigging that up, it was £8.98.
£8.98.
£8.98. They were on £2.99, and about 10 to 5, someone came in and bought a £5.99 compost. Slam dunk.
That's what did it.
Yeah, £8.98. So that was how low. It really was quiet. When I was here the first winter working with Steve, it's a big plot of land, and there were stumps of trees in the ground. We couldn't maintain the ground, I discovered, because they just chopped trees down and left the stumps in, so you couldn't take a machine in there. So we got a JCB in, and we grubbed out all the roots so that we could maintain start to maintain some of the fields. And we used to, be up at the back, up that way, half an hour, 45 minutes at a time. And then one of us would go back just to check that no one was there in the shop. And sure enough, no one was there. So we just carried on with our landscaping around the back.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
So it's fair to say that you started with humble beginnings. So it must be a fantastic feeling to be able to give back to the community and have this 25-year anniversary grand prize draw. And the winning prize is £1,000.
Yeah.
And you're giving away £5,000 worth of prizes. And you're giving back to the community by supporting a local charity called Wild About Wallingford.
Correct.
Talk to us a little bit more about that.
You've asked me about what do I feel proud of. I feel proud that we are able to give back. We've supported, we support Styleacre with their gardening project, sent trees to Africa. We've done some lovely thing. We support the food banks, the food bank in Cholsey. It's a lovely feeling to be able to do that. And so part of this celebrating this milestone, it seemed to be, let's raise as big a sum of money as we possibly can, and give it to a worthwhile cause. And Wild About Wallingford seems to be just that. Wanting to green spaces, all the people who work for them are volunteers. Everyone's giving of their time. With that enthusiasm, you can do great things, but you need a bit of cash as well, and that helps. So I want everyone, please, to come and buy as many tickets as you possibly can, and you have a chance to win £1,000 in store.
We'd love everyone to get involved, because not only could you win a fantastic prize, but you're also giving back to the community that you're part of. On behalf of all the members of staff here, I'd like to say that we're really, really proud of you and everything that you've achieved, and we're really grateful to be here and to be part of your journey, and thank you so much.
All right, well, that's lovely to hear. Thank you.